Hey everybody, this is Matt from endsickness.org. Today I'm going to talk about becoming the observer of your thoughts and your emotions and slowing it down and starting to realize why you're reacting this way to all these events so you can restructure these conversations, how you can deal with the past trauma, you can start to gain control of your emotions, your life, your thoughts, your environment, etc. So first, let me say I'm not a medical doctor. This is not medical advice. This is based on my personal experiences for information and educational purposes only. So let me go back to it. So the idea of becoming the observer is taking a step back from these traumatic events or these triggers when they happen. So let's say something, happens with your parents and they trigger you, right? What happens often is that you feed into the old stories that you have with your parents and how everything was, because you refer back to the past and say, well, no, but the past was like this, so the present is going to be like this. It's going to replicate the past, right? And you start to feed into this. The idea of stepping back from it is realizing that you are associating your past events with your current moment. And that is never a guarantee of what's going to happen in the future. And you're recreating your own fears, in essence. Your own past experiences are replicating themselves because you're expecting them to, right? So you have to take a step back in that moment and say, wait a second. As soon as it starts to feel a little trigger in your stomach or wherever it hits you, you say, wait, this is not threatening. This is based on something that happened in the past. I accept that it happened. I'm over it. I'm not letting that thing control me in my present moment anymore. And I'm going to go ahead and respond accordingly. You choose to respond to the things as the observer. You choose to respond to the things that you want to. The other things you go ahead and you could shrug off. You don't have to go ahead and believe that all these thoughts in your mind, are you. They're not you, okay? They're just thoughts, okay? And that's the key point in all of this, in the whole video, is that these thoughts that come in, they're just thoughts. If you take a step back from them and choose to engage in the ones that you want to, then the other ones will just slide out. If you don't pay attention to the thoughts that are contradictory or based on fear or the thoughts you don't want to, then they will not multiply. Anything you pay attention to grows, okay? So you can't focus on what you don't want and get what you want, The story is, if you are the observer and you say, let's say you have an event and it triggers you, okay? And instead of doing the knee-jerk reaction thing, you take a step back and say, okay, why is that triggering me? Why is this thing triggering me? What does it feel? What does it make me feel like? Oh, it makes me feel like I'm not heard. It makes me feel like I'm alone, or have to do this all on my own, whatever it is. Okay, is that feeling similar? Does that remind you of something that happened in the past or in your childhood? Well, yeah, actually it does, you know what I mean? And you start to see that the past trauma continues to replicate itself in the present moment because you're failing to address the connection between what happened in the past and the present moment. And if you don't allow yourself to see that, hey, I'm still reacting in the same way, I'm still perceiving these things in my present reality because of the past things that happened, then unless you start to see that, you're going to be stuck in this reverberation in this past trauma, and it's going to lead you into situations that emotionally replicate the situation you're in presently, and that's not what you're looking for. You're looking for growth. You're looking to be able to reach your potential, to overcome the illness, overcome the mental blocks, overcome the negative self-talk, these things. So to do that, you absolutely have to be willing to look into why these things are triggering you honestly, and never blame it on anyone else. Never anyone else. It's always, why would something external be affecting me this way? Well, it's because my perception of it. It's not because of what it is, all right? It's always what happens is one part of it, 10% is what happens, 90% is how you react to it. So becoming the observer is key. You got to take a step back. You can't have these knee-jerk reactions. You will keep replaying the same stories over and over, the same moments. It'll just be at different times. It'll just feel the same way over and over again in life unless you go ahead and take a step back from these emotional triggers and you don't engage in them and you try to understand them. And then, after you unmask them, you deconstruct them and you realize they're not what you thought they were. And even the things you thought about in the past that were traumatic, if you start to reconcile with those, then, it becomes really easy to go ahead and get through some of these challenges mentally. So thanks for watching, everybody. And I got plenty more videos on my YouTube page, and go to my website, endsickness.org. Thank you.